Today on the show, we have Ben Gislason from the Iowa Wild Broadcast. Join the show to talk about the Iowa Wild and their season so far. Welcome to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast.
Welcome back to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast. We are a podcast brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network, and we are sponsored by DraftKings. I'm one of your hosts, Connor.
I'm the other host, Kyle. We're a show brought to you by the fans for the fans. We're not officially sponsored by the Grand Rapids Griffins or Detroit Red Wings. We bring you this show as a season ticket member perspective on Griffins hockey. We love watching it. We love reaching out across the league, seeing what's going on in the AHL with these other teams. So today, we're bringing on Ben Gislason from the Iowa Wild Broadcast. He also has his own podcast called Ridin the Bus. And we'll talk about what he does for the Iowa Wild and how extremely involved he is with the team. So,
yeah, it's a great interview. It's nice to talk to other people around the AHL, and it's always fun to talk hockey, so we'll dive right into this one.
The jaw-dropping moments that make hockey, hockey. Experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into 200 bonus bucks if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see tkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved.
Today we have an awesome guest on our podcast. We have Ben Gislason from the Iowa Wild. He's the announcer, and he has a cool podcast called Ridin the Bus. How you doing, man?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate the time with you fellas to talk some hockey.
yeah, just got to say I'm familiar with your voice. Just heard it on Flow TV a couple times here or there, following the Griffins, catching the away stream here or there. I always appreciate catching you guys because we listen to Bob Kaiser all the time over here in Grand Rapids, but you guys have some interesting perspectives from the outside looking in. So always good to hear your opinions too.
Well, I appreciate that, Kyle. And that's quite a compliment because I tell you, I wouldn't turn off Bob Kaiser if I had the opportunity.
I know.
He's one of my favorites, not only as a play-by-play guy, but just as a human being. Bob is a wonderful guy and is someone that was really welcoming to me when I first came into the league 6 years ago. And I look up to Bob in a lot of ways. And you guys have one of the best for sure on the microphone in GR.
Absolutely. He is a true legend for sure.
So first things first, tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And tell us about your show, Ridin the Bus, a little bit.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you about some more recent times on Ridin the Bus. We've hit some hard times there just with our co-host leaving last season, Joey Goldstein. He was the guy that really kept me in check and made sure that we hit a lot of deadlines. And so we kind of put a pause on the show. Unfortunately, as of late, we're hoping to pick it back up in the off season just because I have a little more time in the off season to produce shows and edit shows and come up with all the things that you guys know it takes to run a podcast.
Oh yeah, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And as you guys are about to find out during the season, my role is an extremely busy one. Yes, I provide the broadcast analysis, broadcast play-by-play for all 72 games for the Iowa Wild, home and away. On both Flow Hockey, but also on 106.3 KXNO radio, which is our flagship radio station back in Des Moines. And then also we do 10 to 15 televised games a year on MediaCom MC22 television. So not only doing the play-by-play for those games, but providing content rundowns and shooting interviews and putting commercials together. It's just a lot of media, different duties that come in my capabilities and my role with the team. And then the other side, not only media, but I also do the team services for the club. So flights and buses, meals, hotel rooms. And that's one of the big reasons why, unfortunately, I haven't been able to pour as much into the podcast during the season, is because I'm sure, as you guys can imagine, the duties that come with making sure that 36 bodies get to and from Ontario, California, to Tucson, back to Des Moines, which is the current swing we're on right now. There's a lot of work that comes into that. And so the Ridin the Bus, unfortunately, had to take a back seat for the time being. But it's been a ton of fun to do that. And I know our fans have enjoyed it. I know I get some posts a couple times a month saying, when's the next episode? And it pains me when I get those because I know our fans love them, but hopefully sooner than later we can get some more shows rolling. But in the meantime, just trying to make sure that we get to where we need to get to on a given game day.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot on your table, and maybe you should be providing the bus, not just riding the bus.
That's very good. Scheduling the bus. Yeah, that could almost be a segment. Recent foibles of plotting and planning for a road trip. There's a lot of them. The things that you experience working in pro hockey are one of a kind sometimes. Some incredible stories for sure that we all have.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's some really funny times too, where they're like chirping at each other.
Yes, and the one thing that I've learned, and anybody that operates in the team services, travel coordinating sphere of pro hockey will tell you, is you are frequently in the middle of the heat when it comes to if there's a delay, if there's a cancellation on a flight, the guys climb down your throat about it. But it's not personal. It's not even serious. It's almost like a badge of honor that you wear, where you'll get a text in the group chat, hey, Ben, get up and get this plane off the ground. Like, you can fly this thing, right? Like, you'll get texts like that when things aren't going right. So it's all in good fun. And I've always said, I would rather be hearing it from the team, because if I'm not hearing it from the team, it just means they're saying it to each other, and it means they're probably pissed off at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can get interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it's fun, and we got a good group of guys. I've enjoyed our group this year, and it's fun to travel with this group.
Yeah. So speaking of the group, how have they done so far this year?
No, it's been a tough year. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, when you look at where the team's at and 10 wins through the first 33 games, I take a lot of pride in trying to be a very genuine play-by-play guy, and I don't want to blow smoke. I don't want to act like things are fantastic when they're not. Now, just because you've only won 10 games doesn't mean there haven't been bright spots, and there have been. I think when you have a group that isn't winning, it's easy to look at it and say, well, this group's just failing and they're struggling. And yes, there's been struggle, but you have to boil it down, and you have to look a little bit more individually at how some of the players are developing. And I mean, look, the truth is we're an organization that we want to win, right? I mean, we're not here to lose. It's not like Minnesota's happy that we're losing, but the main goal is to develop players to play for the Minnesota Wild. And so I think you can't help but look at what's going on in Minnesota, and look at Jesper Wallstedt and think about all the success that he's having. And you look at the last 3 years he spent with the Iowa Wild and think about how that helped build him into the goalie he is now. And that's the first guy that comes to mind. And I know he's not a part of the Iowa Wild roster this year, but I think about the year he had last year, which was a struggling year. He did not perform well. He was very upfront about his performance, and he was upset about the way he performed. And look, there were a lot of question marks about if Jesper Wallstedt was going to pan out to be the goalie that people thought he was going to be when he was selected after Sebastian Kosa in that draft all those years ago. And it seems now that he's proving he is going to be that guy. And Jesper is someone that endeared himself to our fans when he was here. He's an incredibly kind person. He's a ton of fun to be around. He's got a great sense of humor, and he's just one of those guys that's really easy to cheer for. So when we got to watch him start to pile up those wins and get all those shutouts, it's cool when you get to see guys that you want to root for so much do that. And so I know that's an indirect answer to your question about the team, but you have to look at it that way when you're not winning. You have to look at where are the positives, because they are there, but they're harder to find at times when you're a team that's won 10 games compared to your Griffins who just can't seem to lose.
Yeah.
Now, on the current roster, the first guy that comes to mind is David Spacek, who was just named to the Czech Olympic team, which is an incredible accomplishment and something that we're just thrilled about to have. Not only we've got plenty of alums that are going to be representing the Iowa Wild overseas this February. Matt Boldy will be on Team USA, which is obviously fantastic. Darcy Kemper's a name who will be representing Team Canada. Joel Eriksson will be on Team Sweden. Eric Haula with Finland. And I'm forgetting a few, but to have somebody that's currently on your roster that's going to be over and playing in the Olympics is incredible for us. And we're thrilled for David, and he's earned it. I mean, David has been lights out for this team this year. He's top 10 in the league in scoring by defensemen right now. He runs our power play. And the other thing with David is last year we saw the offense for him. He was one of the first defensemen since a guy you guys know, and Joe Hickett scored over 30 points for the Iowa Wild a few years ago. But David got 31, I think it was last year. It was the first time since Joe anybody had done it for the Iowa Wild. But there were some question marks about could he defend. And he's been defending excellently this year. He's been playing hard defensive minutes, matching up against top lines and doing very well. He's someone that I think has a definite chance to play in the National Hockey League. And then even more recently, one of the big stories out of the Iowa Wild camp right now is Riley Mercer, who was a relatively unknown goaltender signed by the Minnesota Wild in the offseason after he had a great end of his year in Drummondville with the Quebec Major Junior League. 27 wins, I think he had out in the QMJHL. He had the best save percentage in the league, so kind of one of those late bloomers. Started the year in Coralville, our ECHL affiliate, was someone that maybe wasn't even slated to get any American League games this year. Cal Peterson gets hurt. The starting goalie in Coralville has a family emergency. It's in Will Rousseau, so he had to go home. He likely would have been the call-up. So Rousseau wasn't available. Mercer gets called up. He's gone 3-1 in his first starts and has a shutout and is like a 9.5 save percentage. He's just been unbelievable. So it's almost one of those debuts that we never thought we'd see. And he's definitely played himself into the discussion for what happens when Cal Peterson comes back and he gets healthy, because there'll be some decisions to make with how well Riley's played. So again, I can't help but look at it individually. The team is playing better right now. They have points in 4 of their last 5 games. It's a long march back into the playoff discussion, but as you guys know, January is a moving month in the AHL, and the Wild need to make sure that they don't look back at January and say we left some things on the table, because if they do, it could be a really tough mountain to climb to be a playoff team this year.
Yeah, the Central Division has always been tough, and it's a logjam down the middle, it seems like this year. Again, it always seems to be a logjam right down the middle, so you're never too far out of it when you're down in the bottoms.
No, you're not. You're not. I was going to say, you nailed it with the logjam. And I remember, I think it was probably 3 years ago when the Wild last made the playoffs. It was the same thing. I think we were in 5th place going into the final game of the year down in Texas. And there were 3 teams that all could have made that final 4 to 5 playoff spot. And it wound up being us and Rockford, and Chicago missed it by, I think, a point that year. And so it always comes that 4 to 5 spot seems like it always comes down to the last few games of the year. And, you end up looking at those last couple of games, and those have so much drama to them. But when you're in those moments, you can't help but think back to a game where you gave up a late goal that went to overtime and you lost, or a game that you gave up a late goal and you didn't get to overtime, so you didn't get that point. Like, there are all these little moments throughout the year that, in November when that game slipped away, you don't think about it. But then when you get down to game 72 and you're like, man, if we could have just hung on and held on to that 1 point in the middle of November, we would already have punched our ticket, as opposed to playing this white knuckle game 72 down in Texas. But it makes for fun drama. But for Iowa this year, it feels like that if they are going to sneak into the playoffs, it's probably going to come down to the last day, because, you look at Texas, they're playing better.
They just squeezed right past Rockford.
Yeah, Texas is playing better. Rockford's sliding a little bit. Obviously, Milwaukee, I don't know what's going on out there. We saw them in November, and they looked like they were going to be the Milwaukee Admirals we've come to know, and they're in free fall right now. And so for Iowa, you just hope that at every level, the NHL, the AHL, there's always that one team that sort of comes out of the depths in the second half, and they just get hot, and they find a way to be that team that no one wants to play. That, to me, it seems to be if Iowa is going to be a playoff team this year, they need to become that team that just that goes, hey, we got nothing to lose. We can play with reckless abandon. If we lose, we lose. So what? Let's go for it. And maybe they can be a team that gets hot at the right time and is the team that no one wants to play in March and April.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it could go the other way for Grand Rapids too. I mean, they start out hot. I've seen it so many times where the team that's hot comes out and blows out the first part of the season, and then at the end of the season, it's just they don't have the momentum going into the playoffs, and they exit the first round.
Well, and the thing I think about with GR too is I mean, look, like right now, arguably one of the best teams the American Hockey League has ever seen, and I've gotten to see them. I mean, what have we played? Grand Rapids, is it 5 times we've played them so far? I forget.
Yeah.
And I'll give our team credit. And I remember talking about
they've given us battles.
Bob Kaiser said we've given them some of the hardest games they've played all year consistently.
100%.
Absolutely.
That last one, the 6-2 game, you guys gave it to us pretty good. You scored early, and then when you're a team like GR, if you're going to score early like that, there's no coming from behind on that team this year. No. But the other games have all been great games, But I look at GR, and my big question mark for you guys is, with all of those veterans, at some point, does some team need an Eric Gustafson? Does some team need a Justin Hall in the NHL? And then all of a sudden at the deadline, GR looks and they go, well, those guys are gone now, so what do we do? Now, I also think you guys are deep. Yep. Like, you can fill those holes. We haven't seen Shai Buyam yet this year. He's someone that is a great defenseman, I think, and a great prospect.
Yeah, he's actually just started skating this morning. So
yeah, I mean, where does he fit in now with all these veterans? Amadeus Lombardi has been hurt much of the year. He's a stud. So as much as I'm curious as to will you see some departures for the Griffins later in the year, I also think it feels like that your team has the depth to fill those holes too. Now, you're not going to fill a hole of Eric Gustafson with one player. I mean, he's a special American League player. But
he shouldn't be there to be real.
Yeah. I think we all agree with that. But while he is there, I mean, he's as dynamite as a defenseman as you're going to find in the American Hockey League right now.
Absolutely.
And it's not just Gustafson, it's Hall. I mean, we have Ian Mitchell and these players that are interchangeable with the NHL, and it goes to speak volumes. And yeah, like you were saying, I think the fact that the Iowa Wild has put up some of the toughest games for the Griffins this year, it's been I'm actually shocked that you guys are floating at the bottom of the division. I'm like, how is this team down at the bottom giving us such a fight every time?
Yeah, I mean, we can't score. I mean, that is the biggest thing that plagues our team, because and I talk to our head coach about this in pregame interviews all the time. He loves to bring it up because it's the truth. Like, our defensive metrics are actually very good. We don't give up a lot. We don't give up a ton of really grade A scoring opportunities. Our penalty kills really trending in the right direction. Our power play is getting better now, but that struggled early. Our goalies early weren't delivering plus 900 save percentage nights. It's hard to win if you're getting sub 800 or sub 900 numbers. And the goalies have gone in the right direction. The defense has always been there, but that's even tightening up a little more. But the offense has just been so hard to come by. I mean, Jerry Mayhew's our leading scorer. He's got 17 points. I mean, it's just the numbers just aren't there. And I think about our game against Ontario the other night here in Southern California, where you give up an early goal in the first, but it's kind of a bland game where things just there wasn't a lot going into it. And then Ontario, they get the second goal in that game, and you can see our bench go like, man, we struggle. We don't get to 3 very often. And so when other teams get to 2, you can almost sense our team going like, I don't know how we're going to get there. And so when you've played 30 some games and it's more than a trend, it is a trend. It's more than just a fluke. it's challenging to win when you struggle to get to 3 goals every night. And that's the biggest thing and I give our general manager, Matt Hendricks, credit because he's gone out and he's made moves to bring in scoring. He signed Dylan Gambrell. He signed Jerry Mayhew. He traded for Boris Kachuk. He's bringing in these guys to try and change the scoring output of our team. And it just, and we haven't had Kachuk that long yet. So we'll see if he can help clip things up, but it seems like no matter what we throw at the wall offensively, the same results keep coming. And you look at some of those Grand Rapids games, they were low scoring affairs because we do defend well and we got good goaltending on those nights. So we were right in those games. But when push comes to shove and we get that chance to take a lead, more often than not, we don't get it. And that's the thing that if we can find a way to get that timely scoring going, we'll be a hard team to handle because they do play so hard and they defend so well. And Greg Cronin is a terrifically talented hockey mind. He really thinks the game well. He's really intelligent. And so our structure is really good. But it doesn't matter if you're only going to score 1 goal a night because it's just you can't win that way.
Yeah, you can't. Unless you can keep them to no goals. But that's...
Well, here was the crazy stat for us was I think we had 3 wins in a row at one point via shutout. Now, those wins weren't sequential. There were losses in between. But, I mean, when's the last time a team has there are 3 wins in a row that have all been shutouts? But it's been, but again, it was 1-0 shootout win, 3-0, and then I think it was 2-0 because that's how this team has won this year is these low scoring grinded out affairs.
And you said your goalie room has improved over there. The things are looking up as far as without Volstead being up on Minnesota, and now Minnesota's performing. That's kind of how it goes. It's your AHL team kind of produces for a little bit, and then all the players kind of go up and flower in the NHL, and that's how it should be. So it seems like Iowa might just be playing a AHL role type of year where they just need a minute to catch up.
Yeah, I think that's well said. And I look at, I was just talking, we went over to the Kings Wild game downtown LA last night, and we were catching up with some of the Minnesota staff there, and everybody has been very pleased with when Minnesota has needed bodies from Iowa, the players that have come up have helped. And I look at November as a key example of that, a Minnesota Wild team that found a way to keep winning in November. And I mean, there were nights they had 2 full lines of Iowa guys. I mean, like it was the bottom 6 and the 5 and 6 D man were Iowa players. And they were winning, and they were beating good teams. And part of that is, I mean, Gustafson and Volstead, their numbers have been outstanding, right? But they were winning with American League-laden lineups, and that's not easy to do. And so that is a testament to Greg Cronin, to Matt Hendricks, to the staff here and the work that they've put in to prepare, whether it's Ben Jones or Nick Obey-Kubel or Matt Kierstead, who played last night in L.A., guys that have gone up and played crucial minutes when the Wild in Minnesota have needed them to play those minutes. They've gone up and they've done what they've needed the team to do to win. And that is a big part of it. And so it doesn't feel at times like you're a part of that success when you're losing here, but you do have to look at it that way, especially in a month like that where Minnesota was missing 7 or 8 guys on a given night. And you were seeing a lot of Iowa Wild players go up and have success in the National Hockey League.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, honestly, nowadays, those are my favorite games to watch when all your AHL players are getting the chance up in the NHL. And let's watch. That's the funnest game to watch sometimes.
You know, there's going to be a lot of energy because those guys are thrilled to be there.
Yep, exactly.
So who are the captains on the Iowa Wild right now?
Yeah, it varies from night to night. We've actually had 2 Cs this year because Ben Jones was our captain at the beginning of the year. And then he went up to Minnesota and played 20 games with the Minnesota Wild, but he did come back down. He's back with us now. So he's got the C on now. When he was gone, it was Matt Kierstead. Now Matt Kierstead is up with the Minnesota Wild playing, and so Jones got the C back on. But on a given night, the A's have changed a little bit. I've seen Dylan Gambrell wear an A for this team. Jerry Mayhew's worn an A for this team at times. Nick Obey-Kubel has worn an A for this team at times. We weren't a very veteran heavy team to start the year. But with those moves I was talking about, Matt Hendricks bringing in Gambrell and Kachuk and Mayhew, it's made it an older group all of a sudden. So those are some of the guys the A's have rotated depending on who's in the lineup, because all of those guys, minus Mayhew has not been called up. He's on an AHL deal. Kachuk could get called up. He's on a two-way deal. So all those guys have been up at one point or another because of all the injuries Minnesota's had.
So who's the full coaching staff to you?
The coaching staff here is Greg Cronin, who was previously the head coach for 2 years with the Anaheim Ducks. He's in his first year with the Wild. Our assistant, a guy you know well, and Ben Simon, who was obviously an assistant when you guys won a Calder Cup there, and head coach for a number of seasons before he came on. This is his third year with the group. Nate McKeever is our other assistant, and he's in his second year with the team. He came from Belleville in the American League prior. And then our goaltending coach is Richard Bachman, who you might remember from some strong years in the National Hockey League as a goalie with Edmonton and Dallas.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So who would you say the most NHL ready right now on the Iowa Wild roster would be?
Hunter Haight or David Spacek for me. Those are probably the two guys that seem like they're knocking on the door. Haight already has played some NHL games this year. He played, I think it was 2 earlier on in the season, and has been called up a number of times as a person to be in the press box in case they need a body on a given night. David Spacek did get his first recall to the Minnesota Wild back in, I think it was November. Didn't play, but he was called up, and that was the first time he'd been called up. Those are the two guys that I think about. Spacek, maybe a little more question mark as to where he'd fit in, because just as a defenseman, oftentimes it's a little bit easier to throw a forward into a depth line, play limited minutes.
Yep.
Whereas a defenseman, you got to play a lot more. Normally, there's only 6 of them compared to 12 forwards, but Haight's someone they could easily slide in on a depth line, and he'd win faceoffs and block shots and play hard. He's a good skater. Spacek, I'd be curious to see where he'd fit in. Right now, he probably doesn't fit into Minnesota's blue line because, look, they got a great blue line back there right now. Obviously, Quinn Hughes bumps everybody down, another pegging too in the pecking order.
Log jam once again.
Yeah, they got a log jam, but he's someone that seems like it's sooner than later the National Hockey League is going to come calling for him. And, the other question is, does he become a trading piece for the Minnesota Wild at some point too? I mean, as much as you're developing players to play for the Minnesota Wild, but you're also developing players to make your team better. And if that means that Spacek could be a piece to put Bill Guerin and the Minnesota Wild over the hump to win a Stanley Cup, like, it's a part of it. You hate to trade guys, and it happens, but
not every guy is going to make it up into the NHL.
Nope. No, not every guy's going to make it to the NHL in your organization. That's just how it works.
Yeah, in your organization, yes.
To me, Spacek and Haight, with the trade earlier this year that saw Liam Ogren go to Vancouver, he was kind of the big prospect that I felt like we still had in our ranks. With him gone, Spacek and Haight, to me, bump into kind of 1A and 1B.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, honestly, Hunter Haight's one of those players that's really impressed me when Iowa plays Grand Rapids. He certainly just seems to show up those nights, and he's one of those guys I'm always like, who is that? Oh, it's Hunter Haight. So
yeah, he's let's see, is he 22, I think? Hunter Haight.
He's a second-round pick, correct?
He's 21. He's 21, and he plays a lot older than that. He's a mature kid. He acts like a pro, even though this is only his second-year pro. I think he's someone that he plays the game very honestly. He's a good skater. He's really upped his center ice game this year. He's winning faceoffs a lot better because he knows that, look, he's probably not going to be a top 6 scorer in the National Hockey League. So if he wants to play there, he's going to have to learn how to do the little things right and how to play fast, hard, heavy hockey. He's not giant, but he's strong. And so he's someone that I do think has a definite NHL future ahead of him as a third line center, maybe at his best. Maybe if he gets on the right team, he could get some second line minutes in there. But he's someone that has the tools to step up and be a bottom 6 effective forward for a franchise, I think, in the future.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Wouldn't mind having him on my team. That's for sure.
No, I agree. We're very lucky to have him. Very lucky to have him.
I know we kind of covered the matchup a little bit. We've had 5 games played already. There's 3 remaining games. Looks like we don't meet up again until February. And then one of the last games of the season looks like in April. The Wild haven't fared very well against the Griffins, as we've kind of mentioned.
No, I think the December 19th game, you guys handled us pretty well that night. But certainly the December 17th game was a closer game than the scoreline shows there. But I'll tell you, I look forward every time I get to go to Van Andel Arena next to our building in Des Moines. I think it's the best building in the league. I love Van Andel. I love coming there.
Love it.
I love the city too. GR is a great town. It's a really fun place to come, and it's been fun chatting with you guys today about GR and about the Wild.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, man, for real.
Yeah, it's been good. We're just trying to reach around the league and kind of see what the temperature is around, all the Central Division teams, and check ins mid-season, get an update, and find out what's going on with everyone. So, yeah, really, thanks for coming in and giving us an update and letting us know what's going on.
It's terrific that you guys do that, and it's great for organizations to and for fan bases to know what else is going on. I agree, and not that you guys need to be paying attention to anything but the Griffins right now with how successful your club is and how fun your club is to watch. As much as I obviously am rooting for the Iowa Wild every night, to get to see your team play right now is a ton of fun. It's an impressive group, and I got a lot of respect for Dan Watson too. He's a good person. I've enjoyed getting to interview him a few times before games, and I enjoy every time I get to come to GR. I'm looking forward to our trip out there in February for sure. Thanks for having me on today, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Any last shout out? You got your show you want to shout out real quick? Any last plugs?
Yeah, your social.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I would say one big plug I would say is we'd love to have some people tune in to our outdoor game coming up on January 23rd as a part of Hockey Day Minnesota. We're playing the Milwaukee Admirals at 5 p.m. We're just working today on putting together. Flow Hockey is going to put together a fantastic broadcast. We've got some great guests joining the show. We've got some great talent on the show with some NHL caliber experience, broadcasting-wise and playing-wise. It'll be a great show. We hope some people will join us to watch that game out in Hastings, Minnesota. It'll be a pretty cool day and a fun spectacle for the American Hockey League. And it'll be free to watch on Flow Hockey or Amazon Prime. So we hope to have some viewers join that show that day for sure.
Sweet.
Yeah, that should be a good one. Well, enjoy that for sure. All right, Ben, thank you so much for coming on and joining us. It's been a pleasure, and good luck to the Iowa Wild this season.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys in GR.
Yep.
Thank you.
See you, man.
Bye, guys.
So that was a very awesome interview, touching in on the Iowa Wild, seeing how it's going up there in Iowa in the Minnesota Wild organization. Great having Ben Gislason on, talking to a AHL broadcaster is definitely awesome.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, taking the time out to talk to us about the matchup with the Griffins. So definitely a team to keep our eyes out on. And then just kind of got to mention here before we do take off, make sure y'all check out the Winter Classic game that'll be happening January 23rd. As Ben mentioned, it'll be always a fun Winter Classic matchup for the AHL. This one will be the Iowa Wild and the Milwaukee Admirals. So don't miss that one. It'll be live on Flow TV, and we'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah, and then until next time, go Griffins.
Go Griffins.
Thank you for listening to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, give us a 5-star review. We are part of the Hockey Podcast Network. We are not partnered with the Grand Rapids Griffins, Detroit Red Wings, or Toledo Walleye. We are not experts. We are just die-hard fans looking to make a community with others alike. Let's go Griffins Nation. Join the fun, like and follow us on Facebook and X, or call into the show and have your opinion heard 1-616-319-1175. Thank you. Grand Rapids Griffins, Toledo Walleye, and Detroit Red Wings. Players, coaches, websites, and social media. Thank you AHL.com, NHL.com, ETL.com, EliteProspects.com, and anyone else putting out information on the teams. Until next time, go Griffins. Go Red Wings, go Walleye.